In the field of effective communication, the clarity of our sentences is paramount. Good day, everyone. Today, we will be discussing about the sentence errors. The sentence errors can lead to confusion and misinterpretation, undermining the message we aim to convey. This report aims to explore common sentence errors, particularly focusing on run-on sentences, their corrections, and fragments. Through understanding these errors, we can enhance our writing skills, ensuring that our ideas are expressed clearly and coherently. Run-on sentences, also known as fused sentences or comma splices, are a common grammatical error where two or more independent clauses are joined incorrectly. Run-on sentences are a significant grammatical issue that can hinder communication. By understanding their causes and employing appropriate correction methods, writers can produce clear, concise, and effective writing. Careful attention to sentence structure and punctuation is crucial for avoiding these comma errors. How to fix run-ons. Use periods. Separate the independent clauses with a period, creating two separate sentences. Use semicolons. Join closely related independent clauses with a semicolon. Use conjunction with commas. Join independent clauses with a comma followed by a coordinating conjunction. Use colons. Use a colon to introduce an explanation or elaboration of the preceding independent clause. Use subordinating conjunctions. This conjunction, because, since, although, while, and etc. create a dependent clause which can be joined to an independent clause without a comma. Rewrite the sentence. Sometimes the best solution is to restructure the sentence entirely for clarity.
So now we're going to compare a run-on sentence with two different ways to fix it, using punctuation and using a conjunction. Let's take a look at an example from the table. This is a run-on sentence. It has two independent clauses. He was tired, he fell asleep at once. Since these two are complete thoughts, shouldn't they be joined together like this? So how do we fix it? One way is to use a conjunction. Here we add so after the comma to show the cause and effect relationship between the two ideas. Now the sentence makes sense. Another way is to use a punctuation. Here we add a period to separate the two independent clauses into separate sentences. Now, let's compare another run-on sentence. It contains two complete thoughts. My father is a brilliant accountant. He works in a prestigious bank in the city. One way is to use a period separating them into two sentences. This makes the sentence clearer. So, both methods, using punctuation and using conjunction, help fix run-on sentences. The choice depends on whether you want to show a relationship between the ideas or just separate them. So remember, use a conjunction if the ideas are connected, and use a punctuation if you want to keep them separate.
So now let's talk about fragment and noun phrase. But first, let's define fragment. A fragment is an incomplete sentence that lacks a subject, a verb, or a complete thought. It is a sentence that cannot stand alone. So for example, in the sentence, run to the store. As you can observe, it's missing subject, right? So the question will be, who ran to the store? Another example is my favorite teacher. As you can observe in the sentence, it's missing a verb. So the question will be, what about the teacher? In simple words, fragments are dependent sentences or sentences that cannot stand alone since sometimes it lacks subject or it lacks a verb. It says here that fragments can often be revised by adding the missing elements or attaching them to a nearby sentence. Now, let's move on to noun phrase. A noun phrase consists of a noun or a pronoun and its modifiers, which together act as a single unit in sentence. For example, for the simple sentence, the dog, and for the complex sentence, the big brown dog with the floppy ears. If you compare the two sentences, you can observe that there are huge differences between the two, right? A noun phrase can sometimes appear as a fragment if it stands alone without a verb, such as, the only food he had eaten in 2 days. So that is a fragment, right? But if we add a verb, it would be, the only food he had in 2 days was half a grapefruit. As you can see, when we added a verb, it made a huge differences.
Before we move on, let us first discuss what are verb and prepositional phrase. A verbal phrase is a group of words that includes a verb form but function as a noun, adjective, or adverb, not as the main verb of a sentence. While a prepositional phrase starts with a preposition and includes a noun or pronoun as its object. Examples of verbal and prepositional phrase in a sentence error. Verbal phrase errors. Number 1, the phrase she don't like spicy food is incorrect. The correct phrase is she doesn't like spicy food. The word don't is the contraction of do not, which is used for plural subject or I. However, she is a singular subject, so we must use doesn't. Number 2, the phrase we was watching a movie when the power went out is incorrect. The correct phrase is we were watching a movie when the power went out. The verb was is a singular and should be used with singular subject like he, she, or him. However, we is plural, so we must use were instead. Number 3, the phrase he has went to the store is incorrect. The correct phrase is he has gone to the store. In the present perfect tense, we must use gone, so the correct sentence is he has gone to the store. Prepositional phrase error. Number 1, the phrase she is good in playing the piano is incorrect. The correct phrase is she is good at playing the piano. We say someone is good at a skill, sport, or activity, not good in. For example, he is good at math or she is good at singing. Number 2 is the phrase we will meet on next Monday is incorrect. The correct phrase is we will meet next Monday. The word next already indicates a specific time, so adding the preposition on is unnecessary. Third is the phrase he depends on his parents for support is incorrect. The correct phrase is he depends on his parents for support. The correct prepositional phrase is depends on someone or something when referring to reliance.
Now, let's proceed to gerund phrase and infinitive phrase. A gerund phrase or infinitive phrase fragment occurs when these phrases, which function as nouns, are presented alone as a sentence, creating an incomplete thought. Here's a more detailed explanation. A gerund phrase is a group of words that starts with a gerund, a verb form ending in ing, that acts as a noun and includes any modifiers, objects, or complements. For example, running in the park. In order to fix it, you have to make it a complete sentence. To fix it, I enjoy running in the park. Next is an infinitive phrase. An infinitive phrase is a group of words that starts with an infinitive, the base form of a verb preceded by to. That and can function as a noun, adjective, or adverb. For example, to run in the park. To fix it, he decided to run in the park. Now, why are they considered as fragments? Because gerund phrase / infinitive phrases, when standing alone, lack the necessary elements to form a complete sentence, such as a subject or a verb that fully expresses a complete thought. Lastly, subordinating clause fragment. A subordinating clause fragment is a group of words that begins with a subordinating conjunction, contains a subject and a verb, but does not express a complete thought and therefore cannot stand alone as a complete sentence. Examples of subordinating conjunctions: because, although, if, since, when, where, and while. Examples of subordinating clause fragments: because it was raining, when I'm feeling angry, although the weather was nice. These clauses are incomplete because they rely on a main clause to complete their meaning. How to fix it? To fix a subordinating clause fragment, you can either add a main clause to the fragment to create a complete sentence, remove the subordinating conjunction, and make the fragment a main clause. For example, because it was raining. Here's the fixed version. Because it was raining, we decided to stay inside. Or it could also be, it was raining, so we decided to stay inside.
In conclusion, recognizing and correcting sentence errors is crucial for effective communication. By addressing issues such as run-on sentences and fragments, we can improve the overall quality of our writing. This report has outlined the common pitfalls and offered solutions to enhance sentence structure, ultimately fostering clearer and more impactful communication in our written and spoken language. Continuing to practice and refine these skills will lead to greater proficiency and confidence in our writing endeavors. With that, in behalf of my groupmates, we hope that this report serves as a guide for you to not make the same mistakes again in writing a sentence. Thank you.